right. Good evening, friends and strangers to become friends and spiritual seekers. My name is Stacy Sherman Shull. Pretty soon I'm going to drop that middle name. Like I told you last month, I got married, so I'll go to Stacy Shull. I am the host of the monthly fourth Sunday of every month podcast, Who Are These Spiritualists for Lilydale Radio. If you're not familiar with Lilydale, if you just kind of stumbled upon this, Lilydale, New York, the community of Lilydale Assembly, is a gated community of spiritualists celebrating, I believe, 148 years this year of just free thinking, open to spirit people who come together to serve spirit and help humanity be uplifted. Our catalog is out for our season. Our season starts June 20th. It's right around the corner. It'll be here before we know it. So it'll be fantastic. There's numerous classes and events that definitely, if you can come out and come and see Lilydale, it's kind of a put it on your list type of thing. It's a must see at least once. It seems like people come once and then they're sucked in pretty often, and it's a great thing. And this show, Who Are These Spiritualists, is a monthly podcast that introduces you to people who are practicing the science, philosophy, and religion of spiritualism in their everyday, wonderful, fantastic lives. And it just kind of gets us to a place of, I love to talk, and I find people who love to talk, and we come together. And tonight's guest is Logan. Logan, you like to talk.
I do.
I love to talk. This is going to be a great show, everyone. So thanks for tuning in. Please don't remember to like, share this episode if you like it. I do want to tell you it is a pre-recorded. So Logan and I we're back in time. Woo! Recording this. It'll be popping up on your screens Sunday at its allotted time. So if you do have questions or comments that you'd like to, put out there, please feel free to put it in the chat. I try to check it and answer questions that we might have missed since it's not a live recording. So without further ado, I want Logan to start talking with me. So thanks again, Logan, for being on my show with me.
Thanks for having me, and hello to everyone.
Yeah, wonderful. So the first question I always ask, it always is the first starter of the conversation. How the heck did you find spiritualism?
Well, just like you said, you come in the gate one time and you're sucked in. So my friend D, this goes back to 2016.
Okay.
She was coming to have a picture done with Bonnie White.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And I had no idea. I'm like, all right, I'll go with you. She's like, have you ever, do you know about Lilydale? And you know what, Stacy, I really like to, I do not know everything. I never want to get information about someplace. I just want to experience like, wow, that's so cool, and just go and experience. And then, usually with all the women in the bunch, you'll know plenty of what you need to know and what you don't need to know by the time you get done, whatever you're doing. So it was really cool. We came, it was in July season, and she went in and had her reading, and she came out and showed me the picture that she had and that she had a recording. I'm like, that is so cool. She was just showing me, my face was in there, and I'm like, there is no way that this comes out in 20 seconds. Cause Dee's like, it was 20 seconds, Logan. And I'm like, all right, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then, we hit the, Forest Temple.
Mm-hmm.
And seriously, Dr. Bell there, she like pointed to me in the back, soldier in the back, and she had a message for me. And then Dee was totally emotional and crying because she was so like emotional about it. Mm-hmm. And then we go down this stump, and she gets a reading by one of the mediums down there. And that medium brought in like 5 different people. It was just amazing. And I'm sitting there just in awe. That was one afternoon we came, and then we spent the next couple days there.
Oh my goodness. You know, Logan, you bring up some really kind of interesting points too. Sometimes I say we feel the presence of spirit so much when we're watching a demonstration of mediumship, right? When we're watching mediumship, you know, communication I said, you know, we fill with so much emotion, so much love that our eyes leak. That's what I say, you know, because it's like, it's usually sometimes never, it's not, sometimes it can be tears of sadness because we're going to have all those types, but we have so many types of tears, you know, some can just be of joy, of peace, of healing. You know, there's just tears that flow with us when we feel spirit so close. So, okay, so you come, you have this experience, you stay for a few days. What did you start to research after that? Or did you start coming back? I mean, what kind of drew you? I always say that, like, what draws you in to, you know, become a healer or a minister or a medium of spiritualism? What kept drawing you back?
Well, before the last thing for that weekend when I came, I absolutely saw fairies.
Oh.
So that was hands down, that had to be, out of everything that I've experienced in my life, that night, because we came back at night, and you know, my friend Dee's like, well, maybe we should say a prayer before we go in. And, you know, I'm like, all right, light the way. And the next thing, my eyes opened and the whole entire canopy is lit up. Now I'm standing at the, you know, fairy trail sign.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm like, I said to Dee, you know, I'm not a fairy type of thing. And she was laughing and we were just joking, but we seriously, so I closed my eyes and we said a prayer. And it was interesting because I'm like, the only thing that, now I'm just going by how I felt when we came back to go to the fairy garden. I'm like, you know, I'm getting this no lights type of thing. They want no lights. So I took my phone off and that was it. Off. We sat down on the fairy trail and it was lit up that night. Like the canopy was lit up. I can't even, there's no way there's just no way unless you go there at night and you see the fairies. It's just exceptional. And they have appeared other times since I've been there, but I had to bring that up because that was the coolest out of my whole life.
There has been some phenomenal like photographs or experiences. I've never heard of a canopy of them, but love it. Like, it is kind of, this is really an unusual piece of land. You know, it's a vortex. It's just got its own, just beautiful, breathing, you know, living, I don't know, organisms. It's great. Fairies, though, that's amazing.
It really was. And I said to her, I'm like, because you have your own set of DNA in your eyeballs and I have my own set, that's the only reason that I am seeing these things, or I'm like, it was just unbelievable. And I could just keep talking about fairies, but it really was, Stacy, it was so cool. Even from like a little kid to now, you know, being, you know, a grown man, I'm just like, that was the coolest.
So, okay, so now I have to ask, because you brought it up. You're like, I can keep talking about fairies. So fairies are something, because I'm not too familiar with them, but like I know that they always tend to be around where spirit and the earth meet, you know, kind of thing is what I hear. So are you big into the fairy? What is it? Culture, tradition? I'm not sure what the word is.
No, not a bit. No. And I think that's exactly why they come and smack me right in the third eye, you know? Because of that.
No, I'm not interested. Boom, here we are. Hello.
Exactly. Because, you know, when I was there last summer, and we were chit chatting and stuff like that. And then I went back up there before we left the grounds, and I was with a friend of mine, and they were along the edge of the tree line, and they were probably maybe a foot off the ground, and they would fly and then down in the grass. And I don't like frogs. I don't like things that are going to jump sideways and like land on my legs. And I'm like, I'm just backing up. And they were all along the tree line. It was the coolest thing. Almost like they were little kids learning how to fly. And then and they were yellow, red, green. It was blue. It was the coolest thing.
That is amazing. Amazing. And Logan brings up a good point. We met 2 3 years ago now. Oh, will it be 3 years? Did we meet you the first year my wife and I opened the coffee house? I'm trying to remember.
I think I met you when I did my talk for Church of Living Spirit. Remember that morning?
Yes, I do remember that morning. Yes,
I remember you guys too. You were so nice that morning.
It's that Midwestern niceness, right? Like I just have that Midwestern niceness. I love that. That's right. We did meet that morning. It's been great. It's been a great journey. Just me getting to know you too. And I see that you're doing a lot within, Lilydale, or, you've been on a couple of, I saw you on Nancy's show, and then you're doing the healing for the Church of Light, right? The Church of Light.
City
you do
Light.
the healing service. Yeah, City of Light. So what are you practicing or doing? I don't want to call it practicing, learning, developing, growing. What type of spiritualist practices are you drawn to and doing these days?
Well, I would say that healing is my number one thing. That has been an evolution. Like, what keeps me coming back? That was your question before. What keeps me coming back to, or maybe it wasn't. What was the second question? Or you asked me a question and I went back to the fairies again before
no, just experiences and what does keep coming you back. Because it like for a lot of people, they come here once. And like you said, you just keep getting drawn back because there's growth within you, something that you were exploring. So you were saying healing. Have you always been a healer?
You know what? I'm going to say that there are probably a few things I am. I just wouldn't own it, certainly healing, before we, when you asked me to do this, I was just thinking, what really is the kicker here, And I remember as a little kid in the Jesus story, because I was brought up by my grandmother and in the Southern Baptist tradition. And I'm like, you know what? I knew very early, like I was baptized at 6 years old in the river. So I went in, I told my grandmother, I'm going in myself, I'm proclaiming myself or whatever. And I went in, got the dunk, came back out. So I was really baptized in the river. So I really thought the Jesus story was a good story because morals, ethics, values, you work, you go and heal. And you know what? If Jesus was here today, he'd still be going through the pandemic and everything we're going through. We still got to, find food, take care of ourselves, spiritually take care of ourselves. I mean, it's just a work in progress on a daily basis. So at that point, I really liked the healing ability. I really liked the healing part of things. And I feel like I've always been into the healing part of things. I mean, I went into the military and was a surgical tech, and I worked on an OR team, anywhere from delivering babies to open hearts.
Wow.
Tissue, organ transplant I've done. And then, we met that morning by me talking about
unbelievable. Yeah. Share a little bit, because some people might not know. You were speaking at a church and you were talking about, speak on that a little bit, because it was inspiring. So inspiring.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know about human tissue transplant. My car, I have a plate on there that says tissue. It's veteran tissue. And then I put it on there so that we could have a conversation, because one of the things I love about spiritualism is there's always, we can have a lot of conversation, and we can always up our skills and listen to other people's perspectives and not be so focused or disciplined in as I was growing up, it was the Bible, the Bible, the Bible. So, I had a lot of that. In spiritualism, I'm able to, look at the fairies, look at healing, look at mediumship, and just some of the things that, just intrigue me. I will always, always, always forever be a learner. And that's one of the things, that's another thing I love about spiritualism. So you have the right to have happiness or unhappiness, according to natural law.
Yeah.
I've sat there for, I go to church every week at Church of the Living Spirit and City of Light, my duties there. And I love to watch mediumship. I love to learn. I love the healing part of service. We include everything in that service that really gives you I don't know, it just gets me going like, all right, let me go back in and pull another book out. Like, I can't remember. Oh, the Magic Staff book. I looked over there at my bookcase. Remember, you're like, all right, it's kind of dry reading, but you can do it.
It is hard to read, but it is good, isn't it?
Right.
Oh,
so I'm still doing that, but I've said a million things, but as you can tell, there's always something to learn. And as far as being a healer, that was top 3 things I did in my life. 1 was my son, 2, my transition, 3, being a healer at the Healing Temple. That's how close I really put that up on the top shelf there.
The top shelf. Yeah.
The top 3 things in my life.
And you know how awesome that is? It's just so inspiring. That's the thing that I think spiritualism brings to, and being a spiritualist. It's like you truly are. I love what you said. We are a perpetual student. We will never master anything, I feel, in this life, but we are continually learning and elevating ourselves in our knowledge, in our understanding this life experience. So the more we can get, the better. The fact that, through your transition, me and my wife's relationship, this freedom, I love it. The freedom to be who you are is so impactful in spiritualism. Like it's so welcoming. It's like it's a beautiful, vibrational, open heart, in that way, is that it just brings anyone, into its arms and its embrace. And then the healing and it doesn't surprise me that you were doing medical things, that you're an organ. You're a tissue organ activist,
advocate. I would say, organ, eye, and tissue. And I don't mind what, there are organ people, there are eye bankers, and then there's tissue. So we all have a different flavor per se, but be it me working in the OR, I've been able to take hearts. I worked in the open heart room, and I really like that edge type of on the life and death edge there. Bringing someone off a bypass and that heart. I mean, you've heard me probably say this before, that there's nothing more beautiful when you open up a chest and look at that beautiful heart. I mean, it's stunning the first time I saw it, and it's as stunning the next time I'll see it again. Yeah. It's that amazing. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And you do find, you could almost say you were called to be a healer since the very beginning of your life experience, because you've just gone through all of these different healing experiences or modalities. Working at the Healing Temple or being part of a healing service it really truly is a form of mediumship that isn't recognized as, I think, sometimes as much as sometimes the message mediumship is. But to me, it's just as important. To me, they're equal. They're equal because we all need different forms of mediumship. We have to have this big umbrella of mediumship. We can't just be isolated to just one type of mediumship. The healing is quite phenomenal. I do want to talk to you, though, if I can bring it up, Logan, in our conversation, because Logan, if it's okay, you asked me to be a healer for you.
I did.
Yeah. Do you mind sharing that experience at all? Because it was the first time I've ever heard of group healing.
Oh, you mean focus? All right, I need to. Well, I was having my shoulder done, and I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going, instead of just, sending out, could everybody just send me some energy? I guess I wanted to measure the reaction of my healers on the other side of that. So, and it was really cool, Stacy. I mean, I could write a whole, I don't know. Sometime one of my friends said, I have a series, not a book. And I would say that that's probably the case.
Okay.
I do have a series, not a book, but it was very specific. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to, I'm going to just dial it in and see what happens. I had to have shoulder surgery. You know, and there was a lot of energetic things that just led me to this.
Yeah.
So, or I'm going to say I want to stay focused here, led me to my shoulder, and I have to get it repaired. And these are the things I have to do. Now, what is it that you need? So one of the things that I've done, another thing that I've done in my life is do you know who Limerick Taggart is?
No, I don't think so. I like the name though, Limerick.
Lynn McTaggart.
Lynn McTaggart. Okay.
Mm-hmm. She is the person who wrote The Bond, The Field, The Intention Experiment, and then she wrote the book, The Power of Eight.
Yes.
So I was in her master class for 18 months with my group in 2018.
Okay.
And interesting that we bring this up, Stacy, because in that we had 1,000 people in that class.
Wow.
We were doing it online, 1,000 people, and within 10 hours of that of starting that class, I broke my L1, 2, 3, and 4 vertebral body. It's a spinous process. Actually, it's like off the side there is there's a little bone up there, right up, and it was unbelievable. And we go back the next week because she does the first 4 classes. 4 to 6 classes that she talks, and talks to the group, and then gets us prepared to go into our, subgroups. And the next week when we went on Saturday, she's like, how many of you had physical manifestations of what we started last week? And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. So sometimes I think that, maybe I just experiment on myself. I don't know. But it was interesting because the last time I had a fall, and that happened to me, was in that Lynn McTaggart class. I took a fall on this in October, and that's what led me to have this. So I'm like all about what is happening here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, all right, well, on this healing journey, let's focus in and let's pull people. Let's see what people think. I'll just stay focused on that because I could keep on going in a myriad of different ways, but I'm trying to be focused. Do you understand
I totally get you, Logan. Yeah, we're
right.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, what did you and I asked you? I specifically asked you. So
you specifically asked. Mm-hmm. So what's interesting is, let's talk about a little, let me just kind of tune in our listeners to spiritual hearing or healing, spiritualist healing. A lot of times we say it comes from spirit, through spirit, the medium, to spirit, the recipient, right? So in this case, Logan asked, and I was and the beautiful, there's a lot of people who teach, healing here on the grounds. We have the beautiful healing temple. So there's many different types of healing, but we focus on this, the other side, healing being sent from the other side through the healer, the healing medium to the recipient. And I have grown up in my spiritualist journey, healing in churches, where it's the hands-on healing, and there's a healing portion that is dedicated to this healing. And there's a great healing prayer. I absolutely love our healing prayer. And, we attune ourselves to that healing energy and we give it. And I know that we can do it long distance. I know this. We do it through Zoom. COVID taught us, if anything, healing can be done anywhere, right? But so Logan texted me one day and just said, hey, on this day, this day, time, or whatever, I'm going in for a procedure. Can you please send healing? And I'm like, well, yeah, why not? So I sit down at that time, and it was really cool being able to just kind of I just visualized you, your face just came to my mind, and there was just this golden light over your area. And I just thought, okay, let the hands of spirit do what it needs to do so that, this comes out for the best, the highest and the best. That's what we always ask for, right? The highest and the best of Logan. And then I remember sending it to you, how I felt, what came over me. when I was doing that. And how did that feel? Like, how did you, because see, what I find fascinating, Logan, is you have a medical background. So this is where science and spirituality just, it's got to be, I can't even imagine what's in your brain.
I love it. Let me just say that. Like I said, I just love that. So it's sort of like, all right, I know all the structures, I know what we need to do. And then there's you, then your healers, and me as a patient. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to sit back and observe myself. And at that point, I'm like, all right, let's see what my physical body will do. And it was absolute. I had some really cool things that happened. I mean, I was totally relaxed. My friend Joyce went with me and was a healer. I had on my way down to the holding room to have my a block put in. There's a block that you put in right underneath your clavicle here to numb your arm. So when you get done post-surgical, you're good to go. You don't have any pain, and then your feeling comes back gently. That's a plus, I have to say. And I had like a PTSD moment. My nephew passed away, and he was an organ, eye, and tissue donor. And my brother, he had some medical issues. He was on his deathbed, and he, survived that. I call him Lazarus, but it was just amazing. And as I was getting wheeled down to the room to get that block, I had like a PTSD moment. I'm like, Joyce, I'm having PTSD right now about, my brother and Jonathan. And, she was hand on heart on my head, and it was totally chill. She just healed me of that moment, or those moments, right in that very second as she was standing there.
Oh my gosh, that's so profound.
It was profound.
So profound. So profound. What a blessing, right? What a blessing it is. I always say, to become, like, being a spiritualist. It really is a blessing, because there's just so much that's offered, from us and for us and through spirit, to really help us on this life's journey. Where do you see, so speaking of that, so that journey into spiritualism, and where are you headed next? What are you focused on? What are you looking to, learn more of?
That's a good question. I'm definitely coming more out of the organic side of things. That is one thing that I have, that has been an evolution. I mean, I love the organic, and I got plenty of organic, healing, on it. Like, I'm just talking about organic, meaning our physical body. Yeah. And then when you take it up a notch with the spiritual side of things, and really, I've been playing with that energy, and really looking at, I'm not like I used to be. I can't, it's not that I can't, it's just, I prefer to work in this dynamic other than in the organic side of things now. And just being like I said to you, one of my top 3 things in my life is just being a healer at the healing temple, the end. When someone sits down in your chair, it's an honor. Number one, it's a priceless thing. And I don't even know how to say what kind of energy, when you get there, you focus in, and you're standing there and waiting for your next, person to come and sit down there. It's just, I don't even know how to explain it, Stacy.
It is truly hard to explain. Like, I remember, and I'm not even trained that long ago, right? You're talking 13 years ago. I started, maybe some training 15 years ago. You're exactly right, Logan. It's almost unspeakable, or it's really hard, because, sometimes you might have a healing guide present itself, and their energy is just moving through you to the recipient. Sometimes it's the recipient's healing guide that's appearing. Sometimes it's a consciousness. You just don't know what to expect. I remember, I can't remember their name, so I'll just say, I remember a good practicing message medium who said sometimes, you just get up here and you have no idea what you're going to say. Like, so, to the logical mind, it's scary because, it's like, oh, time to go to Forest Temple, stand up and serve spirit. And you have no clue what's coming out of your mind or it's going to come out of your mouth. The same is true, though, for the healing. Like, you just attune yourself, prepare yourself, and you have no idea exactly.
You really don't. It's like when I see mediums, I love every single week and the mediumship because you can heal someone in a millisecond. It's like it's in a millisecond. And I like being up at the healing temple and people that come, you just never know but you just never know what that person is going through or dealing with. And if they're sitting in your chair, you know what? I'm more like, I feel like it's like it was meant to be. And you know what? You're also receiving as a healer. So I just don't know. Like you said, I guess I'm stuttering because I really just don't know what to say other than being a spiritualist is freeing and allows you to feel all those parts that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
And that is a priceless gift, I got to tell you, because you don't have the dogma that I grew up with. Because you know what, Stacy, this is it. Like I told you, at 6 years old, I got baptized and I decided at that point, if I'm going to hell, I'm going with the A++. So when I went, I might as well just be the overachiever and just go right for it because I was going for it. Because, why not? I had like nothing matched up in this lifetime other than I'm going with the A++.
I love that. I'm going to say that. I just love that. That's just, let's do it. Let's go with the A++ for sure. Yeah. But you're so right, Logan. It's beautiful. I mean, being a spiritualist has so much to offer. And I think, especially tonight's interview with you really kind of reminded me and inspired me to remember how precious healing is. It's really sometimes and I hate to say that, an overlooked thing sometimes. Everybody wants to see the messages or they want to see the physical mediumship or the trance mediumship. But healing mediumship, wow, it's powerful. And it's needed so much not just for the physical body, but for me, it's about the mental body. Like it's the mental mind, the emotional mind. I love healing because it brings me to a state of, the word I want to say is probably peace. It doesn't mean that I might not pick up my stress baggage after I leave the healing temple, but at least it gives me a moment to put it down. And then I have the choice through natural and spiritual law to pick it up. Right.
There you see, that's just it. Principle 8 every week. I'm like, okay, what does this mean by natural law? And then, as you go and you start to read and my evolution was all natural because I always thought I could never, my grandma, I would have all these questions about the Bible. I mean, there's metaphysical all through there. So anything like, the story of Lazarus being healed from the dead, what I went through with my brother and that, and, I'm standing down at the bottom of the chair or the bottom of his bed saying, you know what, I'm having one of those moments right now. It took me 60 years, to get to a point of me seeing an actual Lazarus. Right now, you got it. So it's nice to be able to just sit back and, know that you're not going to, or as a spiritualist, I'm not going to judge myself. I'm just going to go with the experience and then possibly have one of my other spiritualist friends that say, oh, that's normal, Logan. That's just a normal thing. It's easy, It
happens all the time.
Right, or go see this person and they'll give you the nice thing is they'll refer you to someone who does energy work a little bit different, or maybe can dial into yourself a little bit better, or, dial into you or give you a different, and this is what I love, a different modality of treatment, organic, energetically and mediumship of all different sorts, like you said.
Yeah. It's so wonderful. Then you feel like rounded, well-rounded, as my grandma used to say, be well-rounded, take in all the experiences. So we know that we're going to find you at the Healing Temple this season. Where else, if somebody has been inspired by your story or has questions about something that, you know, you might have engaged their thought process in, how can people find you?
Well, I have a Facebook page.
Okay.
And, you know, I'm at church every week. I always get made fun of because I'm always, you know, I have a shirt and a tie. But you know why I do that? Because my grandmother always said, no matter what, go in your Sunday best.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
you
I
know
love
what? I just get to memorialize her every week. And I just love on a weekly basis coming. And like I said, all the different parts of a spiritualist church service is all the things we just talked about. And that is a priceless gift, really.
Yeah, it is. It is. And you can also, I might be partial. I might be a little psychic, or I just know that I have a good friend. You can also probably find Logan at sacred grounds throughout the summer too.
For sure. For sure. Cooling myself off.
I love it. I love it. Logan, I can't thank you enough for being on my show this evening. And again, a reminder to our listeners, this was pre-recorded. So feel free if you have a question, if you want something a little more clarified, or you know, want to say something that, you know, you heard that inspired you, feel free to put it in the comments. I always go back and check comments and try to respond and answer. Again, I'm Stacy Sherman Shaw, soon to be just Shaw. I'll drop the Sherman. Everyone knows me as Stacy Sherman. So, you know, it's a small little transition as I get rid of some letters in my name. Thank you for being here for Who Are These Spiritualists? It is a monthly podcast that can be found on Lilydale YouTube page or Facebook page. And please go see all the other hosts and hostesses and people who are putting together some great, you know, documentaries. I don't know what you call them, but they're just series of shows with so many different topics. If you're looking for any information, go into the more videos and you can just see all of our great people and all of the shows that they provide with their guests, and so much information about spiritualism and Lilydale, which is the largest, oldest spiritualist community in the U.S. now. So thanks everyone for attending, and we will see you next month on Who Are These Spiritualists? And thanks again, Logan.